It's a quiet morning at the local bank. Suddenly, the roar of a V8 engine shatters the silence. Before anyone can react, 5 masked men burst through the doors. But it's what's waiting outside that'll really surprise you. These aren't your average getaway cars. They're American muscle, modified to outrun anything the cops could throw at them. And we're about to take you on a ride through their unbelievable stories. Number 5, the Stopwatch Gang's Charger. Precision on wheels. 3 Canadian bandits, known for their split-second timing, pull up to a bank in a jet black 1970 Dodge Charger RT. But why this car? Well, the Stopwatch Gang, infamous for their meticulously timed heists, needed a getaway car that matched their precision. And boy, did they choose a beast. The Charger RT wasn't just about raw power, it was about control. With its 440 Magnum V8 engine, this muscle car could unleash 375 horsepower at the drop of a hat. But what really set it apart was its heavy-duty suspension. This meant the Charger could handle high-speed chases and tight corners alike, giving the gang an edge over pursuing cops. Now, the gang's leader, Patty Mitchell, wasn't content with the stock Charger. He personally modified the car, adding police scanners to stay one step ahead of the law. But here's where it gets interesting. Mitchell also installed extra fuel tanks. This wasn't just for extended getaways. It was a game changer that allowed the gang to stay on the road longer and cross state lines without stopping. As the Stopwatch Gang's reputation grew, so did the legend of their muscle car. Witnesses reported the Charger disappearing within minutes of each heist. It's no wonder law enforcement struggled to keep up with the gang's lightning-fast robberies and even faster escapes. The Charger RT proved crucial to the Stopwatch Gang's success. Its combination of speed, handling, and customization allowed them to pull off over 100 robberies before their eventual capture. They stole an estimated $15 million in total, making them one of the most successful bank robbery teams in North American history. But here's a twist. The gang's precision extended beyond just their timing. They had a policy of never using violence during their heist. In fact, they were known for their politeness, often apologizing to bank tellers and customers for the inconvenience. It's almost as if the Charger's muscle was all the intimidation they needed. Number 4, Chicago's Camaro Chaos, the SS that stole the show. Chicago, 1969. The Windy City was gripped by a series of daring bank heists that left law enforcement scratching their heads. But these weren't your average crooks. They were a crew of young car enthusiasts who traded their passion for speed for a life of crime. And their weapon of choice? The 1969 Chevrolet Camaro SS. Now, you might be wondering how a bunch of amateur gearheads managed to outrun Chicago's finest. The answer lay under the hood of that Camaro SS. Packing a monster 375 horsepower L78 engine option. This wasn't just a muscle car, it was a street-legal race car. But these guys didn't stop at stock performance. These speed demons took their automotive obsession to the next level. They added nitrous oxide systems to their Camaros, giving them an extra burst of speed when the heat was on. It was like something out of a Hollywood movie, except this was happening right on the streets of Chicago. Witnesses to these high-speed getaways described the cars as a blur of orange and black. That's a nod to the iconic Hugger orange paint scheme that was all the rage on Camaros back then. Imagine that, tearing through city streets in one of the most eye-catching muscle cars of the era. These guys weren't exactly trying to keep a low profile, but here's where their need for speed became their downfall. See, these weren't just getaway cars. They were the crew's pride and joy. They couldn't resist showing them off at the local drag strips. And that's exactly where their luck ran out. An eagle-eyed citizen at one of these drag races spotted something familiar about one of the souped-up Camaros. Maybe it was the custom mods, or perhaps the driver got a little too cocky bragging about his ride. Either way, it wasn't long before the Chicago PD came knocking. Number 3, the Ford Falcon GTHO Phase 3, Australia's Outback Outlaw. While the Chicago crew's showboating led to their downfall, halfway across the world, another group of outlaws were about to make history with a very different approach. In the sun-baked expanses of the Australian outback, a legendary muscle car was earning a reputation not just for its blistering speed, but for its ability to outrun the law across vast distances. Enter the Ford Falcon GTHO Phase 3, a car so fast it was actually banned from production racing. This Aussie beast packed a 351 Cleveland V8 engine that churned out over 300 horsepower, propelling it from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 6.4 seconds. And remember, this was back in 1971, when most family sedans struggled to hit highway speeds before your coffee got cold. But raw power wasn't the only thing that made the GTHO the perfect getaway car. Its robust construction meant it could take a beating on rough outback roads without breaking a sweat. This durability proved crucial during one of the most infamous heists in Australian history. Picture this: a 300-mile chase across the unforgiving outback terrain. The GTHO, loaded with ill-gotten gains, never dipped below 100 miles per hour as it tore across the landscape. Police pursuit vehicles were left in the dust, their engines wheezing in the scorching heat while the Falcon just kept on trucking. The GTHO's reputation grew to near mythic proportions. Banks across Australia started to realize they were seriously outgunned. In a move that sounds straight out of a Hollywood script, some financial institutions began hiring professional drivers with equally powerful cars as a deterrent. Imagine pulling up to your local bank and seeing a race-ready muscle car in the parking lot, engine idling menacingly. But the Falcon GTHO's reign as the king of getaway cars couldn't last forever. As law enforcement upped their game, criminals had to get creative. While the Aussies relied on brute force and the vast emptiness of the outback, our next car took a more subtle approach to grand larceny. Number 2, the Buick Grand National. Turbocharged trouble. While the Aussies favored brute force, a group of American thieves discovered that true power often comes wrapped in an unassuming package. In the mid-1980s, a crew of tech-savvy criminals stumbled upon an unlikely ally in their high-stakes heists, the Buick Grand National. This sinister black sedan looked like it belonged in your grandpa's garage, but beneath its conservative exterior lurked a beast that would give law enforcement nightmares. The secret to the Grand National's success as a getaway car lay in its turbocharged 3.8-liter V6 engine. This power plant was capable of producing up to 245 horsepower and massive torque, all while maintaining the appearance of a typical family sedan. But what really set this Buick apart was its advanced electronic fuel injection system, which opened up a world of possibilities for our tech-savvy crew. Using early hacking techniques, these thieves managed to squeeze even more power out of the Grand National's engine. They manipulated the car's computer systems to increase boost pressure and adjust fuel delivery, resulting in a sleeper that could outrun purpose-built police interceptors. The car's black-on-black color scheme only added to its effectiveness, making it nearly invisible during nighttime escapes. It wasn't long before the Grand National earned the ominous nickname, the Silent Killer, among frustrated law enforcement officers. As the crew's confidence grew, so did the boldness of their heists. They began targeting high-security banks and jewelry stores, always staying one step ahead of the authorities. The Grand National's combination of power and stealth allowed them to blend in with traffic after a job, then unleash hell when pursuit was inevitable. Witnesses would report seeing nothing more than a dark blur as the Buick disappeared into the night. But like all crime sprees, this one was destined to come to an end. The crew's downfall came when they got a little too cocky during a particularly daring robbery. In their haste to escape, they left behind a crucial piece of evidence, a custom boost controller that had fallen from the Grand National's dashboard. This small electronic device provided investigators with the break they needed to finally crack the case. Number 1. The Plymouth Hemi Cuda, Beauty and the Bust. From stealthy sleepers to eye-catching icons. You might think a rare, vibrant purple muscle car would be the last vehicle a bank robber would choose. But for a group of classic car aficionados turned criminals, the allure of the Plymouth Hemi Cuda was too strong to resist. This is the story of how one of the most valuable muscle cars ever made became the centerpiece of a daring heist gone wrong. Our tale begins with a crew of passionate car collectors who had spent years restoring their prized Cuda to its former glory. They didn't just want it to look good, they wanted it to perform like it did back in its heyday. The group went to great lengths to source period-correct performance parts, ensuring every aspect of the car was as authentic as possible. Little did they know this obsession with automotive perfection would ultimately be their undoing. At the heart of their getaway plan was the Cuda's legendary 426 Hemi engine. This powerhouse could churn out over 425 horsepower, making it one of the most potent muscle cars of its era. In a straight line, few vehicles could hope to keep up with a Hemi Cuda at full throttle. The thieves were banking on this raw power to leave pursuing police cruisers in the dust. But there was one glaring issue that the crew seemed to overlook: subtlety. Their meticulously restored Cuda was finished in the eye-popping, plum-crazy purple paint scheme. It's a color that turns heads on a quiet Sunday drive, let alone during a high-speed chase through city streets. This distinctive hue would prove to be a critical flaw in their plan. When the day of the heist arrived, the thieves put their plan into action. The Cuda's Hemi roared to life as they made their escape, easily outpacing the initial response vehicles. For a brief moment, it seemed like their audacious plan might actually work. However, the urban environment quickly exposed the Cuda's Achilles heel: handling. While the muscle car could dominate on the drag strip, navigating tight city corners at high speeds was another matter entirely. Modern police cruisers, with their more balanced performance characteristics, began to close the gap. The thieves found themselves boxed in, faced with a crucial decision: risk damaging their beloved Cuda or give up the chase. From the thundering Charger to the ill-fated Cuda, these muscle cars prove that raw power isn't everything when it comes to getaway vehicles. Each machine tells a story of criminal ingenuity and daring escapes, reminding us that even the most iconic American classics have their dark sides. But beyond the excitement and danger, these tales highlight the incredible engineering and performance capabilities of these legendary vehicles. Next time you spot a classic muscle car cruising down the street, take a moment to wonder about its past. That rumbling V8 might have outrun more than just stoplight challengers. If you enjoyed this journey through the shadowy world of high-octane heists, hit that subscribe button and keep the conversation going. Let us know in the comments which muscle car you choose for your hypothetical getaway. We promise not to tell the cops. Until next time, enthusiasts.